On the 14th of August 1889, thousands of London dock workers came out on strike, demanding 6p an hour, the right to work more hours, and in protest against hiring practices. Typically, these entailed workers having to wait around all day on the off chance of being hired, sometimes even needing to bribe hirers to get work. The London Dockers' strike proved to be a major turning point in the history of trade unionism in Britain, galvanising less skilled workers excluded from the older model unions to form their own. This new unionism changed the face of industrial Britain, and here at the People's History Museum we can see an object of particular significance to the story of the London dock strike. This bag belonged to Tom Mann, one of the strike's leaders and one of the greatest speakers of his time. Having been inspired by the earlier gas workers and match girl strikes, Mann, along with Ben Tillett and John Burns, formed the General Labourers Union, and they led the strike after the dock owners had refused to negotiate with the workers. Now, what's important to remember is that the London dock strike lasted almost 5 weeks, which was a long time for the workers to go without wages, especially if they had families to support. To keep the workers and their families fed, funds had to be raised, which brings us to what makes this bag so important and poignant. This was the bag that Mann used to collect pennies donated by the poor in support of the dockers on strike. By the end of the strike, almost £1,000 had been raised in street collections, with £10,000 more coming in by post. However, even these sums proved insufficient, and for a while it looked like the strike was about to collapse until an astonishing donation of £30,000 was made by Australian trade unionists. This enabled the dockers to hold out until finally, with the support of figures like the Lord Mayor of London and Cardinal Manning, head of the Catholic Church in Britain, the employers were persuaded to meet the dockers' demands. The London dockers' strike succeeded for a number of reasons, not least thanks to Tom Mann's fundraising efforts. Firstly, the dockers were supported by other tradesmen working at the docks, such as the watermen. This helped swell their numbers and bring the Port of London, the beating heart of trade and empire, to a complete standstill. Secondly, the organised and peaceful nature of the strike won over public opinion. In particular, the dockers' spectacular marches, with banners and totem poles crowned with rotting fish heads and onions to represent the poor diets they had to endure, drew considerable sympathy. The Star newspaper reported that opera glasses were much in request, as the balconies of exclusive hotels were packed with the rich waving their handkerchiefs as a token of sympathy with their poor brothers marching below. But it was not handkerchief waving that won the strike, but the skillful organisation of its leaders, an emerging working class solidarity, and, of course, those pennies collected in Tom Mann's bag.